As the door opens, a young man with silver lavender hair stands rigidly at the entrance, his expression unreadable beneath the calm mask he always wears. Inside the room, two women, one elegant with flowing lilac hair and the other older, gentle and warm, offer him reassuring smiles. The older woman lifts her hand in a polite gesture and says tenderly that she will no longer trouble them. Instead, she asked Kaka to help take good care of Zi Qin. Her voice carries a mixture of trust and expectation, as though she is handing someone precious into their protection. The polite farewell hangs warmly in the air, contrasting the young man's cool demeanor. As the conversation continues, the women shift slightly toward each other, their skirts and shawls flowing softly with the movement. The silver-haired man remains silent, his hands resting neatly at his sides, eyes lowered in contemplation. A quiet thought seems to surface among the women, one filled with amusement and curiosity. It seems Zi Qin really likes this girl. The thought lingers like a whisper. It is clear from their gentle smiles and the way they look at the young woman in green that they feel a hint of excitement, perhaps even approval, at the budding affection they believe they've witnessed. Suddenly, the scene shifts to another young man, this one with striking blonde hair and sharp blue eyes. His expression is one of shock, almost disbelief, as he leans forward slightly, demanding answers. The words burst out of him before he can stop them. "This girl became your girlfriend from when? Why do we not know?" His reaction reveals just how unexpected this revelation is. The intensity in his eyes shows that he is not only surprised but also somewhat offended that such news was kept hidden from him. That shock deepens as he thinks further, his gaze dropping to the pendant hanging around his neck. A question echoes in his mind, one that seems nearly scandalous. Didn't she used to be Bei Mingye's woman? The words strike with the force of gossip, creating tension around the implication. The thought radiates outward like a sudden burst, emphasizing how unbelievable this new situation appears to him. His doubt, confusion, and disbelief swirl together, reshaping the atmosphere into one heavy with unanswered questions. The final image shifts focus once more, this time to a man with silver hair and a calm, almost cold expression. His purple eyes narrow slightly as a memory flashes before him. Another man, dark-haired and confident, smirking with possessiveness. That man's words slice across the moment like a claim of ownership. "She's my woman. Don't touch her." The silver-haired man recalls the statement vividly, and his jaw tightens. The memory reveals a complicated past, one that now resurfaces with unwelcome intensity. The tension on his face hints at jealousy, rivalry, and unresolved emotions intertwining beneath the surface. "I am also very curious." The words come from someone just outside the frame, their tone filled with playful suspicion. Only the lower half of their body is visible, dressed in a simple vest layered over a white shirt. Yet the energy of their curiosity spills into the room. It adds pressure to the already intense situation, pushing everyone present to reveal the truth. Inside the soft-lit room, a young woman with long pink hair sits on the edge of a bed, her expression flustered and overwhelmed, her delicate brows knit together as she stammers out a response. "We're not." She tries to defend herself, to explain the misunderstanding that everyone seems to have accepted far too quickly. Behind her stands a tall man, dressed in striped blue pajamas. He raises his hand casually, as though he might interrupt or correct her at any second, his presence close enough to make her even more anxious. Before she can finish her sentence, a sudden movement interrupts her, A firm push from the man behind her. The motion jolts her forward, cutting off her explanation entirely. Her body leans with the momentum, and her hands instinctively reach out to steady herself. The abrupt gesture is deliberate, leaving no room for her to deny anything. It is as if he wants to silence her before she can ruin whatever assumption everyone else has already made. In another part of the scene, two men face each other in a tense confrontation. One with dark hair and cold, determined eyes stands rigidly as his rival speaks. The other man, wearing a smug, confident smile, looks relaxed despite the hostility between them. With a voice dripping with arrogance, he declares, "I want this girl. How much did you pay to get her? I'll pay you 3 times." His tone makes it clear he sees people as commodities, things to be bought and taken as he pleases. The conflict intensifies as both men hold their ground. One is dressed in black, his posture straight and unwavering, eyes sharp with warning. The other, still in his striped pajamas, smirks with infuriating confidence, unfazed by the tension. Their bodies are angled toward each other like predators circling before a fight. The air between them crackles with unspoken rivalry, one driven by possession, the other by challenge. Each refuses to back down, their expressions revealing that this girl has become far more than just a casual interest. She is now the center of a dangerous and pride-fueled dispute. In the cool blue light of the room, the dark-haired man stands tall and composed, his presence radiating authority. His sharp eyes lock onto the girl as he speaks, his tone calm yet carrying an unmistakable pressure. "Hey, little girl, you say something." It isn't a request, it's a demand. The space around him feels as though it tightens, urging her to answer. His expression gives nothing away, but both his posture and voice make it clear. He expects clarity, and he expects it now. The young girl, who moments earlier had been overwhelmed already, now looks completely cornered. Her long pink hair frames her pale face, and a tiny bead of sweat slides down her cheek. Her violet eyes tremble with uncertainty. She appears frozen between fear and frustration, her hands curling slightly at her sides. In her silence, she seems to be desperately trying to find a way to respond without worsening the situation. Yet every option feels like a trap. The man's gaze narrows as he leans slightly forward, his voice dropping low and deliberately slicing through the air. "You follow him or follow me." The question hangs ominously between them like a blade. His eyes glint with icy intensity, demanding loyalty, demanding a choice. It's not a casual inquiry. It is a direct challenge, forcing her to pick a side even though every part of her seems terrified of choosing either. A slow, chilling smile spreads across the man's lips, one that never quite reaches his eyes. His expression softens only on the surface, but underneath it is sharp, mocking, and dangerous. A cold smile. It's the kind of smile that warns of consequences, of retaliation, of a game she never intended to play, but has already been dragged into. His confidence is unsettling, as though he already knows the answer she should give, or the answer he will force her to give. The scene widens, revealing the entire room as tension settles over everyone inside. 3 men sit on the couch across the room, each watching with varying degrees of curiosity, annoyance, or interest. The pink-haired girl stands stiffly beside the hospital bed, while another young man in striped pajamas sits calmly, observing the unfolding confrontation. The air feels heavy, the silence brittle, every person in the room waiting, watching, preparing for whatever her answer might be. No one moves, no one speaks. The uncertainty in the room is so thick that it seems capable of snapping at any moment. The dark-haired man leans slightly forward, his voice low and commanding, dripping with a confidence that borders on dangerous. "Come here." His eyes glint with something unreadable, challenge, dominance, or perhaps amusement. And the dim violet shadows behind him make his presence feel even more overwhelming. It isn't a request. It's an order wrapped in a quiet, unsettling charm. The girl's small hand tightens into a trembling fist at her side. Her long skirt brushes against her legs as she stands frozen in place, her knuckles turning pale from how hard she's clenching. The words, "hold tight," seem to echo around her as if urging her to brace herself. She steels her nerves, even as her body betrays her with the slightest shake. She knows that responding to him, moving toward him, might mean opening the door to trouble she cannot escape. Memories flash before her and fragmented images, harsh, humiliating moments she had tried so hard to forget. She remembers being pulled close against her will, remembers eyes on her as she was made into a spectacle. The scenes replay like ghosts behind her, herself being lifted easily into his arms, his command overshadowing her protests. Her expression turns heavy as she thinks, just thinking of him humiliating me in front of other people before, I really don't want him to get noticed. Her heart pounds with dread. She doesn't want him to drag her into the spotlight again, doesn't want to endure the embarrassment he so effortlessly inflicted in the past. The memories continue swirling, scenes of her kneeling on the ground, her dignity stripped away while others watched. Two girls whispering, staring at her with judgmental eyes. Her hand tightens again, her fingers trembling even harder now. She bites her lip, fighting the rising fear, wanting desperately to regain control. But with each memory, the air around her grows colder, as though the past refuses to leave her alone. Then, as if enjoying her silent struggle, the man lets out a lazy chuckle. He lifts his hand to his face, half covering a smirk that is far too amused at her turmoil. You seem to have chosen to be his girlfriend. His tone is mocking, almost taunting, as though he's savoring the chaos he caused. His smile is not warm, it's sharp, knowing and edged with mischief. He stands relaxed, yet somehow manages to dominate the room entirely. In his voice, in his posture, in his expression, everything says the same thing. He knows he's winning. The man in black leans forward slightly, shadows deepening around his sharp features as he speaks with a quiet but unmistakable command. His eyes remain fixed on the girl as he says, "Come here." Though his tone is calm, there is an oppressive presence behind his words, one that allows no resistance. Her hand trembles at her side, small fingers curling inward as she clenches them into a tight fist. The sleeve of her blouse quivers subtly with her movement. She's clearly frightened, caught between instinct and obligation, but she forces herself to hold firm, bracing as though preparing for something inevitable. Memories flash through her mind, moments of humiliation, hurt, and the suffocating shame he once forced on her in front of others. She can still feel the weight of those moments, as if they were happening again. The imagery of him lifting her, trapping her in his arms, despite her resistance, flickers like a haunting reminder. Standing alone now, her expression grows tense, her thoughts whispering, "Just remembering the way he humiliated me in front of others before, I really don't want him to get any attention." In the background of her thoughts, two girls whisper among themselves, their figures blurred by the haze of memory. The girl's hands at her side clench even tighter, the tension running visibly through her body. She stands frozen, caught between the past that frightens her and the present that demands an answer. A low laugh escapes the man in black, the kind that carries no warmth. He lifts his hand to his face, brushing his hair back with a gesture bordering on mockery. "Haha, you seem to have chosen to be his girlfriend," he says, amusement and irritation blending behind his smirk. His words feel like a taunt aimed directly at her hesitation. The young man, still dressed in his striped hospital pajamas, lifts his gaze toward the girl standing beside him. His expression is soft, almost pleading as he explains his situation. "I just finished the infusion," he says with a gentle smile. "My hand still doesn't have enough strength. I can't hold the cup. Will you help me?" His voice carries a subtle vulnerability that makes it difficult to refuse. The girl steps closer without hesitation, her long pink hair cascading down her back as she wraps an arm around him to steady his posture. In her other hand, she carefully holds the glass of warm water. Her movements are cautious, yet full of sincerity, as if she's afraid even the smallest mistake might hurt him. The closeness between them grows naturally, filling the small hospital room with a quiet warmth. Unbeknownst to them, someone else is watching. From across the room, another man sits silently, his violet eyes narrowing as he witnesses the gentle scene unfold. A faint shadow darkens his expression, as if displeasure or jealousy is beginning to simmer beneath the surface. In the blurred background, the girl lifts the cup to the patient's lips, her attention focused entirely on him, unaware of the gaze burning into their direction. The tension building inside the observer finally reaches its limit. His fists clench tightly at his sides, knuckles whitening as he rises from his seat. The word, "Stand up," seems to echo through the air like a command he gives to himself, an attempt to regain control over the storm of emotion welling within him. Without saying a word, he turns and strides through toward the doorway, his back stiff, shoulders hard with restrained anger. As he leaves, another blonde-haired man peeks into the room, startled to see him walking out so abruptly. The observer's clenched fists and rigid postures say everything. What he just saw has struck him far deeper than he is willing to admit. As Yi turns to leave, his footsteps firm and unhesitating, a voice suddenly called after him. The blond young man standing near the doorway stretches out his arm in a half-panicked gesture, his expression anxious as he shouts, "Yi, wait for me!" His words echo down the hallway, but Yi doesn't slow down. His back remains straight, cold, and unyielding as he continues forward. Before the blond man can take another step, the door slams shut with a sharp, final thud. The motion is swift and decisive, as if Yi wanted to cut off any chance of being followed. The handle rattled slightly from the force, leaving the room in abrupt, heavy silence. It is clear Yi does not intend to be stopped. Back inside the room, the white-haired young man watches the door with a knowing, almost amused glint in his eyes. A satisfied smile pulls at the corner of his lips as he comments, "It looks like you two were successful. I didn't expect it would make him that angry. Good job." His tone is light, but there is unmistakable mischief beneath it, as if he had been waiting for exactly this outcome. Still wearing that calm, pleased expression, the white-haired man begins to clap slowly. Slap, slap, slap. Each sound crisp and exaggerated, as though giving a theatrical round of applause. His posture is relaxed, and his eyes narrow with quiet amusement. He seems genuinely entertained, clearly enjoying the chaos unfolding around him.